Once upon a time, the man overwhelmed by unhappy, sorrow and frustration with his life. He heard about wise old monk for his profound wisdom and gentle guidance. One day, a man, overwhelmed by sorrow and frustration, approached the monk. The man looked tired and worn, his face etched with deep lines of worry. He bowed to the monk and said, "Master, I have tried everything to be happy, but my life is full of sorrow. Every time I think of something good, all I can see is the darkness and suffering that surrounds me. How can I ever find happiness?" The monk listened carefully, then smiled and said, "Come with me, and I will show you how to find happiness." The man followed the monk, curious about what lesson awaited him. The monk led him to a small room where there was a large white wall. In the center of the wall, the monk had drawn a tiny black dot. He handed the man a stool and asked him to sit in front of the wall. "Now, I want you to stare at this black dot," the monk instructed. The man, puzzled but obedient, sat down and focused all his attention on the tiny black dot. For several minutes, he stared intensely at the dot. After what felt like an eternity, the monk asked, "What do you see?" "I see the black dot," the man replied, his voice tinged with frustration. The monk nodded. "And what else?" "Nothing else," the man said. "All I can see is this black dot." The monk smiled softly and said, "Isn't it interesting? You are sitting in front of a large white wall, but all you can see is this small black dot. Your focus on the dot has blinded you to the vast white space around it." The man blinked, realizing the monk's point. "The black dot represents your sorrows, your troubles, and the challenges in life," the monk explained. "It's small compared to the vastness of the good, the joy, and the peace that exists around you. But you focus so intently on the dot that you miss everything else. Life is like this wall, full of happiness, beauty, and blessings. But if you only focus on your sorrows, you will never see the goodness surrounding you." The monk continued, "Happiness isn't about having a life free of problems. It's about noticing the good, even when there are difficulties. Just as the wall has a small dark spot but is mostly white, life has its challenges, but it is filled with opportunities for joy. Shift your focus away from the black dot, and you will see the vast space of happiness waiting for you." The man sat quietly for a moment, reflecting on the monk's words. He realized that for years, he had been so absorbed by his sorrow that he had forgotten to notice the beauty of the world around him. He had let the black dots of his life overshadow everything else. After realization, he understood monk wisdom. If we look at our own lives, we can see that sorrow and happiness are indeed two sides of the same coin. Just like in the monk's lesson, we often focus on our troubles, the black dots, while ignoring the vast space of happiness and peace that surrounds us. In reality, happiness doesn't come from living a life without problems. It comes from the ability to find light even when it's dark, to focus on the good even when there is difficulty. Like the man who learned to look beyond the black dot, we can choose to see the bigger picture, one filled with both challenges and endless opportunities for joy. By embracing both sides of life, the sorrow and the happiness, we can find true peace, just as the man in the story did. For in the end, it's not about avoiding the black dots, but about realizing the vastness of the white wall that surrounds them.